What do we do when we want to convey our ideas to others?
Guys, whatever happens today, however things go, I already feel like I've won with you as my team. Thanks for reminding me that that's what it's really about.
Aww. Gonna try and win though, right? Is that what you... No, actually, that is worth clarifying.
Yeah, we're going for the win. Yes!
So students, in this video, we are going to learn communication skills. So first, let's learn what is communication. Communication is sharing of information. The act of communication involves transferring information from one person or group to another person or group. The information that we transfer may be our ideas, thought, feeling, emotions, or instructions. So if we want to convey anything that we have, like our emotions, our thought, our ideas, and we want to convey these thought, idea, feeling, emotions to someone else, so we choose a medium of communication. Transferring of information from one person to other or from one group to other group is called communication. Why do we communicate? So there are various reasons that we communicate: to inform and instruct. Suppose we want to inform someone about something, or we want to instruct someone about something, so we use communication. To create awareness in society, we see that people use to create awareness about different things. To express feelings, to influence or persuade. If we want to persuade someone, or if we want to influence someone with our idea for certain objective, so we do communication. To promote action and increase efficiency, to develop relationship. So these are the major reason why do we communicate. And next we are going to learn about the component in communication. So when we communicate, so there are many components of communication that are involved here, and this component majorly affect our effectiveness of the communication. So let's learn about these components of communication. So sender, the first component of communication is sender. Sender means a person who is sending the communication. So it's not only the sender who is going to send the communication, there are some other things involved in it. So there's a message. So sender, after that is a message supposed to be there. Without message we can't send anything. Next is encoding. What is encoding? Encoding means putting our thoughts into appropriate codes or symbol so that it could be understood by the receiver. So after encoding, there is one more thing there, communication channel. So what is this communication channel? This is a medium through which the message is transferred, and this includes many things like the noise or the environmental conditions or the semantics present in the communication channel, and this also is one of the factor that may affect our communication. For example, if the environment when we are where we are making our communication is noisy, so definitely it is going to affect our effectiveness of our communication. Next component, channel medium. So channel medium, through which channel we are going to send the message. It may be different type of medium, such as print medium or electronic medium or written communication. So what is the medium? That is also one component of communication. Next is decoding. Now decoding means translating the message into a meaningful thoughts. This we call decoding. It's a vice versa of encoding. Encoding is to translate your thoughts into the symbols. Here from symbols, the meaning is to be extracted so that it could be understood. So this is decoding. And next, receiver is also one of the important components of communication, and the interpretation of the message is largely depends on the receiver also, a person who received the message. Now next is feedback. So feedback is given by the receiver, and this also ensures that how the message is conveyed, whether the message was conveyed correctly or not, is depend upon the feedback of the receiver. When the receiver gets the message, so it gives its feedback to the sender so that the sender understand whether it conveyed properly or not. So these are the components of the communication. Sender would be there, and there will be a message. This message will be encoded, will be put into the symbols, maybe words, anything. And then there is a communication channel that also play a major role in effectiveness of the communication. And there's a medium, channel medium. Which medium are we using to convey our message? Then this will be decoded by the receiver, putting them into the thought or extracting the meaning of the message, and then receiver is there, and receiver also sends feedback to the sender. So these are the component of the communication. Here we will just read these components. So the context, taking a message from the sender, encoding, sender, conveying of message, communication channel, receiver, and decoding, feedback. So these are the same thing. Okay, context means here environment. Okay, which environment we are sending the message. So these are the components of the communication channel. Now next, perspective of communication. What is perspective in communication? So perspective means our point of view towards someone or something. Perspective can affect communication. So whenever we are interacting with someone, so it's make a great point that what is our point of view towards a person we are making communication. So if we have a good understanding, if we have respect for the person who is talking to us, definitely it will convey his or her message very effectively to us. But on the other hand, if we don't have any respect for the person, and if we are no hate that, if we hate that person, so definitely it's going to hamper the communication. So this we call perspective in communication. So whenever two people are making communication, there should be a good point of view of one for each other. So that's why the communication will be more effective. So many factors affect our perspective in communication and then become barrier in the process of communication. So there are many factors that affect our perspective, our point of view, and these factors ultimately becomes barrier in the communication. Barrier means hurdle. So we are going to learn about the barrier in the communication. So what are the barriers in the communication we are going to learn? The barrier to effective communication. What are the hurdles? What are the distortion? What are the barriers that may affect our communication? So first, a personal barrier. We will discuss them in the upcoming slides. Organizational barrier, cultural barrier, semantic barrier, gender barrier, perceptual barrier, language barrier, emotional barrier, environment barrier, physical barrier. So these are the barrier which we are going to discuss in the next slide. So first is a semantic barrier. So it means confusion created due to the words used by the sender and the interpreted meaning of those words by the receiver. So whenever we are making a communication, the sender of the message should choose appropriate words and language, keeping in mind the receiver of the message, and and thereby the message will be conveyed effectively. If it is not done, so definitely it is going to hamper the communication process. So here you can see in the picture, so these people are from countryside, seems to be countrysides, and he's talking about, this gentleman is talking about computer language, and that is also in English. So maybe they don't know English, but he is using English as a language to communicate his message. So what do you think? Will this communication be effective? No, I don't think. So this is what we have. This we call semantic barrier. Means if the confusion is created between the sender of the message and the receiver of the message because the language was not appropriate or the words were not used properly. So this we call semantic barrier. I hope you understand. Next is emotional and psychological barrier. So if the sender is overwhelmed by emotion, it can hamper communication. So when a sender is sending a message, one has to be in a good state of mind. If the sender is emotional or is overwhelmed by emotions, so that will definitely hamper the communication process. If the person is very angry, so he will not be able to process his thought properly and put into the appropriate message, and this may not be received by the receiver well, or even a person is crying, then also he or she is not able to convey his message properly because of the emotions. So this is also one barrier. If the sender or even receiver is overwhelmed by emotion, so the communication is going to be affected. We can further discuss this. If the listener doesn't like or distrust the speaker, it can seriously affect communication. So even if the listener doesn't like the communicator, or if the speaker doesn't trust on him, so this is also seriously affect the communication. Next is prejudice. What is prejudice? Prejudice means preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. So this means when we have some ideas in our mind about someone that is not based on the actual experience, that we have just thought, we have made one idea about a person in our mind without any solid reason or logic. So that we call prejudice. For example, whenever we talk about leaders, so sometimes the picture of a person come in a mind, okay, he may be a corrupt person, or he may be one who cheats people. So it may not be right in respect of any particular leader. The leader may be honest, but this is prejudice in a mind about the leader. So similarly, if we have conceived any idea about someone in our mind and the person is making communication to us, so definitely we are not going to receive his idea or his message in an effective manner. So this is prejudice. Now gender barrier. Gender barrier had been a part of our society since a time immemorial. So gender barrier means the barrier based on the gender stereotype. The notion that gives the idea that men and women have a different way of communication. Though the gender barrier have become less of an issue in recent years, but there are still some common misconception about it. Here in the picture, you can see it's women say that I will definitely defeat this man. So maybe we will have a doubt about what she is communicating because she is a woman. She is a woman. So this is some sort of gender barrier. Next is visual perceptions. So it relates to our ability to make sense of what we see and interpret it. So this is all about what do we visualize and what do we interpret from it. So here is a picture. You could see some people will be seeing it as some pillar or some vase. Some will be saying, okay, two people are there. Okay, so nose, mouth, like this. So here is one more person is there. So this is a difference between our visualization. So how do we see the things around us? How do we receive the things around us? Will also make a great effect on the communication. Next is environmental barrier. So many components in the environment such as climate, temperature, noise, etc. may affect the process of communication. We have already talked about this also. This when we talk about communication channel, these things were there in the communication channel. So these also affect our communication. The noise, temperature, climate. For example, if you are conducting a meeting in a room which is very hot, so definitely your communication is going to be affected there because the people are not comfortable sitting there. They won't be receiving your message properly. Or if a class is running in a school which is very close to the road, where a lot of noise is there outside the classroom. So definitely, if the teacher is teaching in such a classroom, so his communication is also going to be hampered there. So these environmental barriers are also there which can play a major role in affecting our communication. Next is your personal factor. Personal factor like lack of confidence or habit also affect your communication. For example, if you want to communicate something to someone but you are not very confident about it, so what is going to happen? The person who is receiving your message is not trusting you and is not going to take your message as seriously as he is supposed to take it. Next is a cultural barrier. So cultural barrier occurs when we are not aware about the norms followed in the various cultures. In this picture, you can see the sticking out tongue in India is an insult, but in Tibet it's a mark of respect. So sometimes these cultural norms also become barrier. Now, effective communication. For effective communication, there are many prerequisites that must be fulfilled. A message that is conveyed must be clear, consistent, and adequate. The communication could be effective if we ensure to choose right language, appropriate body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and suitable ambience. So we have already seen many barriers in our communication process. So we have to keep these all barriers in our mind and we have to avoid this barrier and should choose such uh, tools that our communication become very effective. So to make our communication effective, we have to ensure that we are choosing the right language, we have appropriate body language and facial expression, our tone, our pitch of voice as very appropriate, and we use suitable ambience. Ambience means you can say environment. Okay, so that is must for to make our communication effective. Next types of communication. So there are different types of communication that we are going to learn. First is the verbal communication. That's the second one is the non-verbal communication, then visual communication, and the fourth one is the written communication. Now we are going to learn about these types of communication one by one in the next slide. So verbal communication. Verbal communication involving spoken word. So the communication that is made by the spoken words is called verbal communication. But some scholars include the written communication also in a verbal communication. But as per your book, the verbal communication is the communication that is made by using the spoken words. So what are the factors that affects verbal communication? So choice of word. If your words are not chosen correctly and appropriately, so it is going to affect your communication, about your tone, your clarity, your pitch, your mood also, and health, confidence level. These all affect your verbal communication. So what is verbal communication? A communication made by using the spoken words. Advantage of verbal communication we are going to learn here. So there are few advantages of verbal communication. It saves time as the information is passed on immediately. If you want to talk to someone, so we can do it instantly. So it saves our time. We need nothing to communicate rather than our spoken words. So it saves time. Second one, it is cheaper as no material required. So we don't require any material to here. So this is cheaper also. As you compare in the let's say if you want to communicate by making a video, as I am making video for it, take me 4 to 5 hours to make this video. So it takes a lot of time and it's required lot of materials also. Laptop is required, your data net is required, etc, etc. Okay, any clarification required can be given on the spot. Okay, suppose you are making communication using your spoken words to someone and the receiver hasn't got it properly, so he or she can give feedback and you can clarify your ideas. Okay, so that can also be done on the spot instantly. Instant feedback is also there. And powerful persuasive tools. So what is powerful persuasive tools? Means if you want to persuade someone, if you want to influence someone, you can do while making a communication using your spoken words on the spot, and along with that you can use lot many things, your emotions, your feelings, your facial expression with that. Okay, that can persuade a person. So these are the advantage of verbal communication. Now we are going to learn about the disadvantage of verbal communication. Longer message may not be remembered. So let's say if a leader is making a speech for an hour, so you're listening to the leader. So after he finished his lecture, so you know that it's impossible for us to remember everything what the person has spoken. So this is a disadvantage of verbal communication. Next, chances of miscommunication. So maybe the miscommunication is there because of the language, because of the word are not used properly. So this there may be because of the language barrier. Okay, so no record can be maintained. So you cannot maintain any record of verbal communication. Means as later on the speaker wanted to tell you that what the speaker has told you, let's say 3 days back or 1 month back, so it is impossible or it's a very difficult for the speaker and even the receiver to recollect what was spoken that time, what were the matter of the communication that time. So record cannot be maintained, and emotions and feeling may lead to destruction of the message. This we have learned in barrier in communication that emotion and psychological barriers can also affect your communication. If the person is overwhelmed by feelings and emotions, so definitely it is going to affect his communication. So these are the disadvantages of verbal communication. Next is non-verbal communication. Communication done without the use of words, oral or written, is called non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication can be conveyed using gesture, facial expression, tone of voice, eye contact, body language, and posture. So it's possible to make our communication without using the words, oral or written. And it is said that over 90% of our communication is non-verbal. That means the most of the communication that we make is non-verbal. Let's study the various types of non-verbal communication. So first is kinesics. So kinetics includes body movements, facial expression, and eye contact. So our face is mirror of our mind. So whatever we have in our mind can be seen our face, whether we are angry, whether we are happy, whether we are hating someone. So this could be seen. This could be seen on our face. So this is how we communicate. Even if you don't want to communicate to someone, what we have in mind, our face can tell this other person. Okay, and even our body movements, how do we walk, how do we stand, so this also tells a lot about what a person we are or what we want to communicate to other. Next is body movement and posture. Our body movement and posture communicate a lot of information to the onlooker. While making communication, we should be careful of body movements and posture. Body posture, such as waving our hands, clenching our fist, giving a thumbs up, thumbs down, makes a lot of communication. About body movement, we will take example of a classroom. If the teacher is sitting on the chair, not making any movement in the classroom and teaching the class, so definitely what the teacher wants to communicate to the student is not being received by student so much effectively as the teacher is teaching while standing, making eye contact with all the students. So these also are the way to communicate. So paralanguage or vocalic. Now, so what is paralanguage and vocalic? It includes the volume of our voice, its timbre and pitch, the speed of speaking. A loud voice could convey anger, a musical tone could soothe, and the harsh one could annoy. So this also is a way to communicate. This also tells what we want to communicate. A deep voice is considered more credible. Take the instance of the film star Amitabh Bachchan. The volume, tone, pitch of his voice is such that it sways masses. Next is personal appearance. Personal appearance includes grooming, look, and dressing sense. A person with pleasant appearance and well dressed will attract the attention of the receiver, which will help to convey the message effectively. Very simple. If the person who want to convey message is well dressed, his appearance is very pleasant, very good looking, so definitely he will his communication will be very effective. Next is artifact. Artifacts are physical objects such as clothing, homes and cars that indicate to other a person personal and social belief and habits. So you might have come across many people and you might have seen that many people used to wear different type of objects like earring, finger rings, bracelets, and women jewelries. Okay, So this also tell about the person, what kind of person is this, and even the things, the object they poses, like what kind of home one has, what kind of car one has. Okay, this also indicates other a person personal and social belief and habit. Suppose one is sporting tika on his forehead, you will come to know that he is a person who believes in God. Okay, so these are also a way to communicate. Next is haptics or touch. So haptics is an integral part of communication. So this is a very perfect way to communicate. And this includes an handshaking, patting, stroke, hugging. So if you are handshaking with someone, so that communicate that you are very friendly to him. If you are patting someone, so that also convey your love and affection to the person. So this is also a part of non-verbal communication. Next is chromatics or time. So it includes punctuality, willingness to wait, how long one is willing to listen, etc. So this also a part of non-verbal communication. If you are punctual to your schools, this communicate to your teacher that you are definitely a good student. If you are every day coming late to the school, this is also communicate otherwise to the teachers. So similarly, if you are boss in an organization, you are reaching there in a meeting on time. So this will also communicate something to your employees. And willingness to wait if you are patience, okay, waiting for some one for longer period of time, and if you have this patience, so this is also communicate to something. So these are different types of non-verbal communication. Now we are going to learn about advantages of non-verbal communication. So it complements the verbal message. So along with the verbal message, if you use this non-verbal method of communication, so that will make your verbal message more effective. It's complement this means it is always there with the verbal communication. It is easy to present. It can substitute a verbal message. Sometimes the verbal message can be substituted by non-verbal communication message. Sign language is helpful for differently abled people. Okay, so sign language you might have seen those who are suffering with hearing impairment. We can communicate to them using sign language. Unlettered people can use this form of communication. Unlettered means we are not literate or who are not educated. So for them also we can use this mode of communication. It is quicker and reduces waste of time. So these are the advantages. Now we will learn about disadvantage. So it can be vague. Vague means it's not very clear. Sometimes it may not be very clear, and the receiver cannot interpret it well. So long messages can be conveyed. It is ongoing process and cannot be stopped as verbal communication. You cannot stop. Suppose you are very sad on a particular day. So as I told you, this also communicates something to your friends or the people you are standing before, and you cannot stop this looking sad. It's very difficult to stop the facial expression or other form of the non-verbal communication. Next, can be easily misunderstood and misinterpreted. So sometimes it may be misunderstood or misinterpreted. Next, no permanent record can be maintained. So these are the disadvantages of non-verbal communication. Now next, we are going to learn about the visual communication. This is the third method of communication. Initially, we will learn about the verbal communication, then non-verbal communication. Now, this is a visual communication. Visual communication is the transmission of information and ideas using symbols and imagery. It may also include sign, graphics, design, logo, pictures, model, graphs, photographs, etc. So, sometime while walking on the road, you might have come across many traffic signs. So, these signs communicate something to you. Or you might have seen different type of logos of different companies or organizations, or sometimes you might have seen some graphs or charts or your map that you use in a school. So these also convey something to you. So this all includes and visual communication. So here you can see these are the traffic sign. So no stopping, no left turn, no right turn, maximum height, etc. etc. Okay, these are the emojis. These are also medium of visual communication. We use it in a daily life. Okay, when you are sending messages to someone, instead of writing that I am happy, you just send an emoji. Okay, so this is also type of visual communication, emojis. Here, these are the brand names. They have logos, and here you can see chart. It is also one way of visual communication. So here I am concluding the topic for today. So before we end, we will just recapitulate the points we have learned today. So first we have learned what is communication, why do we communicate, components of communication, barrier in communication, various form of communication, and under this we have learned about verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and visual communication. So this is all. This will be continued, and thank you for subscribing the channel. Thank you.